You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am quite certain that many of you all have shared that same sorrowful song. The only time they ever cried was over you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. But here is some joy tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This woman is a powerhouse. And I want you all to know we practice bringing on powerhouses on our network. Um, but she is someone who has quietly become a powerhouse in Washington, D.C. And I'm so glad that she's going to be spending some time with us tonight. Maritza Adonis, she is the CEO of MTA Visions on K Street. She's the powerhouse of K Street. You go, girl. What is it? What does it feel like being amongst all those K Street lobbyists and you hold your own? How does that feel?
It's a blessing. It's very hard and, challenging to get on K Street. Just because, to be in government relations, the lobbying space, you need to have access, contacts, and money.
Yeah.
And traditionally that comes with who your parents were, who your parents having their contacts, what school they went to. And of course, being first generation, I did not have that access and so getting to be here is a privilege. It's definitely part of my calling. My training and background is international investments. And so I worked overseas in that. And so me coming to DC was literally a calling. I got that call from Capitol Hill to do some work on the child tax credit portion of the tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately from there was recruited by a local education firm to work on some civic engagement. Then from there, that catapulted me to doing some policy and strategy for the RNC 2016. And then from there, jumped right into my firm. And so to be here is a blessing. It's definitely a calling. I am definitely here for such a time as this. And so don't take that opportunity lightly.
The humility that you have, the hubris that you have, is so foreign to where you work. Okay, it really is. It is refreshing to find someone on K Street who has such humility. I want to talk with you tonight about the whole idea of international investment and going into urban areas. It seems that has been a very distant idea. Foreign money's pouring into the inner city. Uh, why will that be a better option than depending on domestic investment into the inner cities?
Well, I should say I know because of the work that I've done overseas,
Yeah.
from international investment disputes to engage in economic development, whether it was in London, Lithuania, or Hong Kong. I saw it firsthand where for myself, um, being a minority, um, being an American overseas, like as a minority, you are much more appreciated
Mm-hmm.
outside of the country than you are in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you're outside of America, you're just an American. American is a
Exactly.
valuable asset everywhere around the globe.
Mm-hmm.
As a business owner, it's even more valuable because oftentimes, as minority business owners, our reach is as far as we're willing to go. And that's we typically tend to be comfortable in our communities, right?
Yeah.
And so, have the same restaurants or the same doctors that open up their offices or the same small business printing company or party company, but it's all in that same community. And so, as technology increases or by, those same services may not be as palatable. And so, because we've always stayed in our comfort zones, those companies tend to die off.
Yes.
What I've seen on the global scale is that our businesses do very, very, very well. One, Americans don't travel as much as you think we do. And so when you do go overseas, it's very few Americans that are there. Two, as a Black American, you stand out, which is a
Mm-hmm.
good thing overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are naturally just intrigued to learn more about you. And then three, we tend to, as Americans, we tend to think that we're the world when really we're a very, very small portion of the world. Our consumers, Americans are consumers for everyone else. And
Hmm.
so the best place to sell to Americans is outside of America. And so literally if you can take that one product that you have, in that small inner city, bring that product to, Shenzhen, China,
Hmm.
you could you now have a market that's 30 times bigger
Now,
than
now,
your inner city market.
now,
Because you're a
Maritza,
Black American. Yes.
Maritza, there are people who are watching tonight in the inner city, Washington D.C. And I have a very large following in the inner city. Apparently, it's amazing, but I do. Uh, but they're watching tonight and they're saying, "Oh man, you can't sell overseas. I mean, that costs so much, and nobody wants my stuff here. Why would they even want my stuff there?"
That's not true.
Yeah,
I'm here to say that they are looking for your stuff because, think about it, like anything American has some sort of value to it. So
yes.
even if it's, and I'll take a very just simple example. If you were to go to Walmart today and you purchase a shirt that has, Florida on it, you could turn around and sell that shirt, a $5 shirt from Walmart. As an American, you buy 10 of those shirts. You go to China, you can sell that same shirt for 50 American dollars.
Wow, wow.
That's at the basic.
Well,
Not to mention if you're creating something that's yours, your own IP, your own design, your own product that
mm-hmm.
has more viability in every other market, a greater, almost 300% more viability in a foreign market than it does in our own market here. And that's because as Americans, we all have access to almost the same amount of resources.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's going to be another t-shirt company. There's going to be
Mm-hmm.
another company that has access to maybe an LA market and a New York market that you might not have access to. But you tapping into Hong Kong or you tapping into Hyderabad in India, you now have access to several million more consumers. There is little
Wow.
to no competition. Your competitors are a fellow Indian who doesn't have as much resource that you do, who doesn't have the American contacts that you do. And so when you enter those markets, we immediately do overwhelmingly well.
No,
The
no.
issue is knowing how
Yeah,
to enter.
exactly. And you reading my mind. There are people here tonight who are what they're competing against Walmart, and they say, "I'm going to give up my company. I'm going to give up my business because I can't make any money, and America is the only place that you can make money." And you are blowing people's minds tonight by telling them that you in the inner city have opportunity to create multi-million dollar, multi-billion dollar companies just by entering into the global investment world, getting to the global trade market. So when you're able to sell that kind of product overseas and make that kind of money, don't you create jobs here at home in that process?
Absolutely. I mean, you dictate as a business owner, where your employees come from. And so, similarly to how, corporations will have, headquarters here, but then they'll outsource. We could do the exact same thing where we could have our headquarters here or even headquarters in another country, but then outsource it back to America. And I think that's where, the president's trying to, in, the latest, trade agreements is trying to make it easier for American companies to not only be headquartered here, but
Yes.
be able to outsource here. And so by limiting a lot of the tariffs, and some of the penalties that companies usually face when they do go outside and take their commerce outside, that helps us to keep American workers and American jobs here in the United States. So absolutely.
Now I want to ask you here, Marissa, because a lot of people are watching tonight and they're saying, "Wait a minute, I'm not getting any benefit out of the tax decrease and the tariffs and the regulatory reform. I'm not getting any benefit out of that because my stuff gets sold here in the domestic marketplace." Uh, is that true? Number one, but number two, how can they take that risk of getting their stuff into the marketplace of the world?
It depends on which industry. I know for our latest trade agreement that we're working on right now, which is the United States Mexico Canada agreement, the USMCA or NAFTA 2.0, that's more targeted towards agriculture, um,
Mm-hmm.
farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And there is actually one good thing, this time around that there is a chapter on small and medium enterprises, which we haven't had in the past. And so they are trying to create this catch-all category
Mhm.
where SMEs or small medium-sized enterprises can benefit from the greater trade agreement, or as it relates to doing trade or selling your businesses or services to Mexico and Canada. So if you're in the ag sphere, yes, the tax incentives may be beneficial. If you're not in those spheres, then it gets a little bit more technical, and it's down to where you're located, who you're selling your services to, and how much demand there is for that particular service. And so that's a case by case basis. So yeah, I can kind of understand where some folks might feel like the tax incentives, they're not getting a direct benefit from their business due to
Mhm.
taxes from that standpoint.
Mhm. But, however, if they would just enter into the international marketplace, that would be totally different. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, International marketplace is where we need to be. I mean, I'm a big fan of advocating for domestic policies that benefit us. Obviously, I manage a lobbying firm. But, you know, it's good to improve these laws and policies to make sure they benefit us and it increases access. But at the same time, we don't have to fight that hard. We have an entire world that's literally waiting for our market and our business. The issue we found in the past is that one, we typically don't like to travel, right?
Yeah.
And if we do travel, it's leisure travel. Three, when we do get there, we are stuck up. I can say that. I went to, I did some schooling, in London and, working in my firms. And whenever I had American colleagues, we are so spoiled. And so we do not adapt when we go to other countries.
Hmm.
And so for all those reasons, we miss out on opportunities. How many times, when you go to Paris, you take the time to say, well, you know what? Let me go and visit the American Chamber of Commerce in Paris and to see what kinds of businesses are actually flourishing in Paris and to see any contacts that I can make while I'm there from the business aspect. Slim to none. So little steps like that, if we leverage, um, those trips that we're taking for
Yeah.
vacation to just visit a local chamber, that makes all the difference because maybe back home your business is in textiles, but you go to Paris and realize there's a need for manufacturing jobs,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
That's a business idea. You're already there. You're making that contact. Relationship is the new currency. You meet with the right person. They like you. Being an American, we can come back home and it's very easy for us to start a business. You come back home, you get your LLC started or whatever business structure is the best for you. We have technology, your WhatsApp, your Facebook, your Skype to maintain that contact. And within a couple weeks, you have a new venture that's doing well because you have that direct contact in that respective country. They like you, they trust you. Starting business is very easy on our ends. And then dollar signs, right? Versus
Exactly.
for
It,
them, the reason why it's not as easy for them is because they don't understand our structure. And so, and many times when I'm helping, foreign clients, foreign entities, it's basic how to start a business in America 101.
hmm.
Whereas for us, we have Google, right? And of course, as an attorney, I highly recommend you
Exactly.
get a business attorney to help
Yes.
you with that. But the resources are at our fingertips.
Okay.
And
So
so,
this is what I want to say to you. We're two things. One, a lot of people are looking at you tonight and saying, "Wow, there are black people on K Street." Uh, um, but number one, they're saying, "How do I get someone like you to represent me on Capitol Hill?" Number one, so I get something out of the deal. And then number two, how do I get the acumen, the intellectual knowledge base to proceed in taking my little idea in Roanoke, Virginia, or in the middle of the inner city, Anacostia, Washington, D.C., Compton, or wherever? How can I take that idea and get it over there to make money?
okay. So, how do you get in contact with a lobbyist, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
typically, for you to know lobbyists, you have to be in those circles. Lobbying is a very expensive venture. And
Yeah,
so, God placed me in the field. I didn't
exactly.
plan to enter lobbying. I just kind of right place, right time, right contacts, right connections. And so, what I've done is I've been doing a lot of outreach because what I've learned is that our community has not yet seen the value of lobbying.
Yeah.
And that's because they don't understand it. And so we
Mm-hmm.
do a very, very good job of advocacy. And the difference between advocacy and lobbying is that, advocacy is petitioning your government for XYZ cause. And, whether it's calling your legislator and saying, hey, I would like for you to support this cause or make a vote on this bill. Lobbying is taking a step further, and that's hiring um, a gatekeeper or a stakeholder
Yes.
that has direct access to those decision makers every day. And so, which is why I tell groups all the time that, that come here, we host our Capitol Hill events. We say it's great to have that, 2-3 day lobby day. But once you leave, my friends on K Street, if they didn't like your position, they're there the next day, unraveling everything that you just spent,
Mm-hmm.
2 days advocating for, and maybe thousands of dollars, flying in so many people to come on board. And so for our community, what I'm doing now is educating them on the importance of having a designated person that's advocating for your cause every day. How do you get
Yes.
in contact with me? I think you shared my contact information.
Yes.
I'm more than happy to come out and talk to, organizations and groups to, one, share the benefits of lobbying. And then from there, we can talk about, what does it look like to, engage a lobbyist, and, what issues that you can utilize lobbyists to protect your respective interests on Capitol Hill. The
Maritza,
second part,
if
yes.
I could just, I just want to interject here real quick, and we're going to let everyone know along the lines that we're going to go a little long here, so just bear with us. But it's time for minority owners to stop being so cheap. I'll just input that. Okay. Go right ahead. Second part.
Yes, for your business, you invest in an attorney, you invest in a good accountant, you need to invest in a good lobbyist as well too.
Yeah.
Because whatever
It's a package.
your business is, providing, you need someone to protect that interest. And that's in by the time something becomes a law, it's not too late, but it's harder, right? Lobbyists, we help shape that law. And so if you can
Yes.
get someone ahead of time to say, hey, Maritza, my business is looking to change green lights to yellow lights. And so you would hire a lobbyist to start, a communications campaign talking about the benefits of yellow lights versus green lights. Get all the members of Congress that may or may not support it. Write that bill for you, get it passed, then work with agencies to make sure that they don't, create new regulations that, impact that. By the time we get to it, you usually come at the end of the litigation part where we're hiring an attorney to sue because we later
Mm-hmm.
find out that, changing green light to yellow light actually impact us. By then
Yeah.
it's too late. We don't have the money to do that. So yes, invest in lobbyists. All right. To answer your second question, about, you're in your small town, you have your idea, where do you find that acumen, or how do you enter into this international market? My first recommendation would be is to, especially if you're in the DMV area, you have all the resources.
Yeah.
Your first stop should be the Department of Commerce. There are so many free resources that Department of Commerce offers to help you enter markets. So, surprisingly, we don't have as many. Well, not surprisingly, we know this, which is why the president is, ensuring that we're removing a lot of these tariffs to encourage more exports coming out of the United States. We don't do a good job of exporting, and
Yeah.
minority exporting is extremely low because we don't know how to enter into that. And
Mm-hmm.
so Department of Commerce is looking for you. So let's say you don't even have a clue about what it is you're looking for to export. Just go visit them and ask them, what are the current international needs? Because as a business owner, you want to create a business that's going to satisfy a particular need anyways. And so if you don't have an idea and you're saying, you know what, I know that I'm an entrepreneur, or I know that I'm, this is my space. It's like we do this for,
Thank you.
folks that are trying to enter into the U.S. market. We can help. We're more than happy to help our community, enter into the foreign market as well too. And we can absolutely help guide you through that.
Maritza, Adonis, I'll say this, and because you won't, because you are such a great diplomat. Stop being so cheap, people. Get it on the front end. Don't try to do it on the back end. Takes too
Yes.
much time in litigation. Do it on the front end. Get someone who's a gatekeeper or protector to help you market the way, not only just into your neighborhood, because I know you want to sell all your stuff to little Frenchie and all the buku people who with you and everything. But your stuff has got to get overseas to China, to Australia, to Africa. It can't get there, into Europe. It can't get there if you continue operating in your same mentality that I can only make money right here in the inner city. It's bigger than Walmart, people. It's bigger. The whole world's bigger than Walmart. Maritza, this will not be the last time we have you on. You are a tremendous powerhouse on K Street. I thank you for just taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk with us tonight, and we look forward to your return very, very soon. God bless you, and thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, you need to be picking up the phone. If you are a minority owner of a company, you should be going to mtavisions.com right now, mtavisions.com, and saying, Maritza, I am tired of losing money to everybody else. It's time for me to pick up my money right
That's
now.
right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we will come back to you right after this break. I'm very sorry. I'm not very sorry. I'm very happy that we went long. It is a tremendous honor to. My God, do you know who we just talked to? We'll be right back with more of the best right